Welcome to Studio 9. I'm your host, Robert Bettis. We have an exceptionally good show today, especially if you love automobiles and off-roading. First of all, you're going to meet a guy named Rick Guerrero who owns Rick's Tanks. He ships these products all over the world, and you may not have even heard of him. He doesn't even have a sign. Finally, we send our chief photographer, Ruben Espinosa, out to meet Carlos Chong, who was on the show Monster Garage. How did he get on that national show? And finally, one local hometown girl is such an excellent welder. Maybe she can even teach me how to weld. She was a co-host of the national show XOR Extreme Offroading. Meet Eliza Leon. If you want to find the place on earth with literally the most interesting and diverse people, well, you need go no further than El Paso, Texas. And joining me is one of those very special people, a builder fabricator, Eliza Leon. Eliza, welcome to Studio 9.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it sure is nice to be here with you, and I sure live this baby right here. Tell us about this little project you've got going here.
Okay, so the project I've got going here is a 1953 Willys pickup truck, and my intention is to make it into a rock crawler.
A rock crawler?
Yes.
Okay, and a rock crawler would do what and where?
We have a lot of mountainous areas here that we can actually go rock crawling at, as well as in New Mexico, but the dream goal is to go to Moab, Utah, and climb some of the rocks and mountains up there.
Eliza, no offense, but this little puppy doesn't look too healthy. I mean...
Right now it doesn't.
So, and you're going to do all that. You're going to
Yes.
change all of the inner parts and everything, get the engine working, put some new tires on this puppy.
Yes.
Okay, how long have you been doing that type of work?
So this type of work in particular, roughly about 6 years. But I started off in the automotive industry 14 years ago.
14 years ago. Okay, so now your parents had a different plan. Your mother wanted you to do something else, which you did fulfill your promise. Tell us about that.
Yes, I did. So I come from a blue-collar family, and my mom is the only person in our family to have gone to college, and she's a teacher. And she definitely wanted me to follow, not in her first footsteps per se, but at least go to college.
Get that college degree.
Yes.
And you fulfilled the promise to mom.
I did. I graduated from UTEP with my bachelor's in political science.
Yes.
But I came back
in
and
your
I
blood
told her,
was something else.
Yes, I came back and I told her, Mom, I really miss my cars and my truck, so I'm coming back home to work on stuff.
Okay, so when I say Eliza was an El Paso girl, Riverside High School, and you went there to like the tech department?
Yes.
What school?
So I originally graduated from Isleta High School, but Riverside has an auto technology program for the full Isleta Independent School District program, and so I enrolled into auto tech.
Wow, and then that's the first time you ever welded.
Yes, so funny story is that our classroom had kind of all gotten into trouble for not really working on stuff, and because I was always with the teacher working on things and bringing in projects, he said, you know what, he says, I don't think, you and I had another friend, Marie, that went with me. He says, you two are always working. He says, how about you girls learn and go how to weld? And so he sent us over to the welding side of school, and they taught us how to, like, the basics of welding.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Okay, so you decide to get your first job. Tell us about that. You walk into your first place and they're like, oh my gosh, what do you want? We'll hire you right away. Yes? No?
No, not necessarily. So originally I had applied at Firestone, and I walked in and the interview didn't feel like it went all that well. Right next door was Trevino Transmissions, and so I walked in and asked to see if they were hiring. The manager said, hiring for what? And
For what? Honey, what job do you want?
yes, and I told him an apprenticeship, a mechanic, a shop hand, anything. And he says, all right, do you have your own tools? And I lied and I told him I did.
Oops.
And I mean, I had some hand tools, but not enough to say like I was a full-on mechanic yet.
Right.
And he said, okay, he says, well, tell you what. He says, go to that box truck, take off the dry shaft, bring it over to me. and we'll see. And so I did, came back, gave him the dry shaft. He says, all right, now go put it back on. So I went to go put it back on, and he says, bring your tools tomorrow. You start tomorrow. So we'll keep you on as long as we can.
And what you learned at Riverside taught you how to do that just on the fly. You were able to do that. And so you have a natural gift. This isn't something you just have. You're not afraid to tear these things up, rebuild them, make them better.
No, this is, I went, my mom took me over to go see the monster trucks. I was obsessed with them.
Oh,
and
no.
and so I used to get a lot of toys, little grave diggers and stuff, and
Sure.
of course I would, the model toys too, so I would put them together, take them apart, and so it just, it was something I've always naturally liked to do. And the monster trucks just kind of solidified that I needed to be a mechanic, or at least be around the trucks.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, if Eliza looks a little bit familiar, maybe you've watched Spike or possibly NBC Sports, and
Yes.
you've seen a show she's on, and we're going to talk about that national show that she hosts coming up in just a little bit. Stay with us.